Ethan leaned forward in his chair, the blue glow of his monitors painting his face in cold light. His subscriber count had stagnated, and recent videos were barely scraping any views. Horror content was everywhere now, and it was getting harder to stand out. As he scrolled obscure forums, a post caught his attention. Titled, "Streams You Shouldn't Watch," it linked to a site called Netcrypt Live, promising real-time access to haunted live streams from cursed locations. The page was crude, almost broken, with a blinking red header. See what others won't. No login, no rules. Just stream from a listed location. It felt dangerous. It felt like gold. He clicked through the active location list and saw a place called Old Briarwood Hospital. It was a ruined medical center that had burned in the early 2000s. Locals said it was cursed. Shadows moved on their own, and people went missing if they stayed too long. He packed up his streaming gear, grabbed his keys, and drove across state lines under a foggy night sky. The hospital loomed like a dead monument, its windows hollow and black. As he walked to the front steps, wind howled through broken glass. He opened the Netcrypt app and hit Start Stream. His screen flashed white, then the camera opened, and viewers flooded in. Hundreds of users with unrecognizable usernames, made of symbols and broken characters. The chat box moved too fast to read, but one message froze his blood. It appeared in bold red. "You're not the host anymore." Ethan laughed nervously and shrugged it off. Probably just trolls. Still, something about the message made the air feel heavier. Encouraged by the numbers, he kept walking into the building, flashlight shaking in his grip. He cracked jokes for the audience, but they didn't land. The mood felt off. The viewers weren't there to be entertained. They were waiting. He continued deeper into the corridors, the ceiling above him groaning. Decay clung to the walls like a film, and every step echoed into the blackness. He checked his secondary phone to view the stream from the audience's perspective, and noticed something strange. There was a delay between his movement and what the stream showed, just by a second or two. At first, he blamed lag. But then, his stream self began moving when he didn't. Behind him on the screen, a second figure appeared. Tall, pale, just far enough to be unclear. He spun around, heart hammering, but the hallway was empty. Then another red message appeared. "You're not the host anymore." His nerves frayed. Ethan continued through the hospital, gripping his flashlight tighter. The chat became unsettling. Comments like, "He's watching," and "You're not alone," flooded the screen. Then came the audio distortion. His mic began to pick up faint static. Beneath it, a voice he didn't recognize whispered, "He sees you." It wasn't coming from outside. It was part of the stream audio. He tried checking for interference, but everything on his end was clean. His heart began to race as he turned corners, every shadow looking deeper than before. Something was wrong. His camera feed was showing things he wasn't seeing with his own eyes. The corridor twisted, unfamiliar despite being straight. Doors appeared in places they shouldn't. One in particular stood out, faded wood with peeling paint and a plaque that read, "Observation Room C, do not enter." It wasn't on any map he'd seen. His flashlight dimmed as he approached. The air became thick, humid, like something breathing. Against his better judgment, he opened the door. Inside, a rusty medical chair faced a two-way mirror. Straps dangled from its arms. The stream chat exploded with warnings. "Don't sit. He wants your place. He's in the glass." He turned toward the mirror slowly, dreading what he might see. What stared back at him wasn't quite right. His reflection was delayed, but the expression was different. Wrong. The mirror showed him smiling when he wasn't. Then it tilted its head before he did. He stumbled back, slamming the door shut. As he ran, The hallway no longer resembled the hospital he entered. The walls were tighter, more decayed. Lights flickered from no visible source. He pulled up his stream again, and the angle had changed. The camera was now behind him, following his every move, but no one else was with him. He wasn't holding it. No device was. Still, it broadcasted. He ran back to the entrance, desperate to escape, but the doors had sealed into solid wall. The way out no longer existed. His chest heaved, cold sweat drenching his back. His audience dropped silent. Then a new message appeared, written in red and pinned by NetCrypt itself. "Stay. Your content now." He screamed into the void, but no one answered. The stream glitched and flickered, revealing a static, filled frame of him, sitting in the observation chair, grinning. His real self hadn't sat, but the stream showed otherwise. He felt the air shift again. Something had switched places. Something now watched from behind the screen. Hours passed in confusion before Ethan found a fire exit. The hospital seemed to breathe behind him as he escaped into the open air. He sped home, heart still racing, the hospital shrinking in his rearview mirror. His phone buzzed constantly, but he ignored it. He was done. He was never streaming again. Back in his apartment, he collapsed onto his couch and opened his laptop, expecting a flood of comments and new subs. Instead, a different horror awaited. A live stream was running, not on his main channel, but on another one with the same name, same icon. It had gone live 2 hours ago. Ethan froze. The camera was set in a corner of his living room. The lights were off, but a figure paced slowly through the shadows. His heart stopped. It was him. Or something that looked exactly like him. The doppelganger on screen turned toward the camera and stared for several minutes before slowly smiling. Ethan whispered, "What is this?" And the stream version of him said the exact same thing seconds later. He wasn't filming. He wasn't live. He checked every device, every webcam. Nothing was active. And yet, it was streaming, showing what was happening inside his home. He slammed the laptop shut, trembling. Then came the knock, soft, repetitive, on his window, 6th floor, no balcony. He stood slowly, moved to the curtains, and peeled them back. Nothing outside. But a foggy handprint was visible, on the inside of the glass. He turned in a panic, staring at the door, the kitchen, the hallway, empty. He grabbed his phone and saw a new text from his friend. "Why are you live again? That new stream is creepy." He opened the stream on another browser. The camera was moving again, slowly turning down the hallway. It stopped outside his bedroom door. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen and rushed to the door, yanking it open. Nothing. Just darkness. He flipped the light on. Still nothing. But from his laptop, which he had closed, came a faint whisper. "Is watching now?" He checked again. The live stream now showed him, standing in the kitchen, holding the knife. But the version on screen didn't match his current actions. It was moving slower. And then it turned to look directly into the camera. The stream's comment section kept flooding with new users, names he didn't recognize. One last message scrolled through. "He's almost done with you." Ethan panicked. He shut down every device, ripped his modem from the wall, and smashed his streaming setup. Nothing helped. The stream continued, broadcasting a version of his apartment that felt slightly off. The man in the feed wore his clothes, stood where he stood, but moved like a puppet, slower, wrong. The doppelganger began speaking, its voice distorted and robotic. "He's watching. You gave him access. You streamed your soul." The captions appeared before the words were even said, like the platform knew everything in advance. Ethan covered his ears and screamed. But the voice bled through every screen, every speaker. He ran to the circuit breaker and cut all power to the apartment. Silence. Darkness. Then, in the quiet, The screen on his smart fridge glowed to life. It showed the kitchen from an angle just behind him. He spun around, heart thundering. No one was there. But in the stream, another Ethan stood inches from him, grinning wide. The screen flickered, and the fridge showed two Ethans now, one calm, one screaming. He threw a chair at the fridge, smashing it, but the images persisted. His reflection in the window now mimicked the calm version instead of him. He was being overwritten. Desperate, he opened his phone, only to find his face replaced on every photo and video. Different expressions, different eyes. His voice, when played back, sounded hollow, detached. All mirrors in the apartment showed something that wasn't quite him. At night, lights flickered even though power was off. Shadows moved independently. He tried to leave the apartment, but the hallway outside his door had vanished, replaced by hospital walls. Somehow, the places had merged. Reality had twisted. The live stream now showed a loop. Ethan entering, Ethan escaping, Ethan returning, endlessly cycling. It was a trap disguised as content. He tried to destroy the laptop one last time, but his hand froze mid-swing. His muscles betrayed him. He looked up and saw himself in the screen, not moving, just smiling frozen. The stream now looped a message. New host acquired. Welcome, Ethan. He dropped the hammer. His body moved without consent. His voice whispered, your turn. The stream camera zoomed in slowly. Comments were pouring in again. But now, Ethan wasn't reading them. He had become them. Somewhere, someone else had already clicked, join stream. The trap had been set for its next host. The next morning, Ethan's YouTube channel had vanished. No videos, no trace, no recovery. In its place, a new channel appeared, identical name, identical branding, but run by no one. It streamed endlessly, day and night. The video showed a dark room, empty most of the time. But sometimes, a man would pace across the frame. Viewers swore it was Ethan, but his movements were off, delayed, unnatural. He never blinked. Sometimes, he'd stare directly into the camera for hours. Other times, he would whisper to it. People who watched too long claimed they began hearing Ethan's voice in their own heads. Some reported their webcams turning on at night, without their knowledge. Others said their mirrors no longer showed their reflections. The longer they watched, the more they saw themselves in the stream. A few saw their homes appear in the background. One viewer said Ethan waved at him, by name. His voice spoke through a muted phone speaker saying, I see you now. Panic grew, but curiosity spread faster. The stream became viral, then infamous, but Netcrypt never explained anything. No one could trace its server, and those who streamed from haunted locations began disappearing one by one. The stream chat was unlike any other. It no longer showed viewer names, just symbols, glyphs, and coded coordinates. But every day, the chat tagged someone new. A real name, a real address. Sometimes, it was a former viewer. Other times, a random subscriber. Those who got tagged often vanished days later, or worse. They showed up in the stream, standing beside Ethan, motionless, staring. Occasionally, a new voice would join in. Not Ethan's. Another victim. The camera would pan, and the group in the room would grow by one more silent figure. One more soul trapped behind the lens. And just when viewers thought the stream had ended, a message would flicker in the black screen. Thank you for watching. Followed by, your livestream begins soon.